Okay, guys. So this was not on the schedule. It was supposed to be a month ago, but they failed as well. Um, there was no real presentation about game design or any of the stuff that we've done really over the last year. So that kind of fell to me to throw something together and talk about some of the things that we did for Apocrypha and Dominion. And I'm going to do my best to cover that here. Torfi gave a bit of a broad overview yesterday of what all is coming in Dominion. This is going to maybe delve a little bit more into some of the specifics of that towards the end of the presentation. But yeah, so let's get started. I'm doing this basically because I like to talk a lot. And if you didn't see Torfi's presentation last night, this will touch on a lot of the things that he discussed as well. And it's still an hour until then. So, Apocrypha. Yeah. I'm not sure where this came from. It showed up in the office about 3 days after the name was announced, and no one could pronounce it, so we just said, fuck it, and did that. Apocrypha was obviously an attempt to rediscover the wonder of Eve for a lot of players. Get people feeling like they could go out somewhere, into somewhere that they'd never been before, see things that they'd never seen before, and basically spend time developing brand new content, which was something that we hadn't done in a while. We'd spent a lot of time revisiting old things and trying to reinvent the wheel on some other things. And so we decided to basically put the whole company behind pushing out something that was absolutely new and that would hopefully energize people and get them more involved in playing again. Now, there were several teams that were involved in a lot of different aspects of Apocrypha. The team that I was on with CCP Grayscale was put on Wormholes. Now, what tends to happen whenever something like this starts up is that the product managers will hand a word down. And in this case, it was Wormholes, and it was, this is cool, we think this would be awesome, so make it happen, or you don't have a job anymore. And so we had to get started. So we had to think about, what should Wormhole space be like? What are the things that you would encounter there? What are, some of the different elements that might, take place? Why would people want to go there? Well, obviously we were coming out with Tech 3 ships, and it just seemed a fairly easy leap that a lot of the stuff dealing with Tech 3, which should probably come from Wormholes. What should it look like? This was actually one of the more interesting things about the development of this feature, in that no one's ever actually been in a wormhole, so no one really knows what it's supposed to look like. And we obviously didn't want it to look like normal space. And we knew we were getting a lot of new graphics and a lot of new effects and things, and wormhole space seemed like a great way to be able to show all of this off in one spot. Now, the Tech 3 team and the team that was developing some of the new asteroids and all that, they had actual concept art. They were actually able to go to the art team somehow and ask, beg, borrow, plead, and get them to make them some art, like the little video that Torfi showed in his presentation yesterday of the little T3 Lego ship coming together. That's the kind of stuff that they had. The Wormhole team didn't have that. And so we, myself and CCP Whisper, had to literally put together our own concept art. And you're going to see why game designers have no business making concept art. And I think we taught the artists a very valuable lesson. This was... This is, this was obviously a first draft, and so, we figured, well, if we can do cold, then we can do hot as well. And, yeah, and obviously, some of the ideas were already there. We knew that we were going to go in and try and see old, ancient things and stuff like that, and that there'd possibly be clouds and lightning, and it would be roiling. That was a pretty awesome word. And then, yeah, something to do with plasma and everything, but this didn't really illustrate it well enough, so I figured I'd try to explain it better. And, your ship would take damage and, get hit by lightning and all these things. So, yeah. Now, once we had the concept art handed over to the artists, the next thing we needed to do is we actually had to come up with the concept of the feature. What are wormholes going to be like? What exactly is from beginning to end, what is the wormhole feature the wormhole experience going to be like? Once again, a lot of the other teams had a few days notice. They got told, well, you have to have this presentation ready for the product managers to review, and so they can explain the feature and sign off on it. CCP Grayscale and I had 45 minutes. And so what I'm about to show you is the actual presentation that we submitted to the product manager board for the approval of this feature. And amazingly enough, even though it is rather innovative, it really does capture everything about the wormhole experience somehow. So obviously, you're bored and you want to go out and find something new to do. And so you decide to go find a wormhole. Yeah. You have to go outside a station in order to do it. And this is, yes, we have to do this step-by-step process. These are destiny balls, apparently. I don't know why that's there. And we had to make a new scanning system as part of this. And this was mainly Grayscale's thing. But the old scanning system was pretty horrible, and we wanted to improve upon it, and for all, not just for exploration, but for PvP purposes as well. And so this this slide covered that. So now you found a wormhole. In what is obviously one of the best ships in EVE. And yeah, wormhole space is supposed to be different and not be the same. You go through the wormhole, you come out somewhere completely different. And this is actually better than our concept art, now I think of it. And, you get there, and oh shit. And this was one of the things that we had to really that we actually had to. We had a lot of discussions about people going in, getting trapped. What would the mechanics for that be? Should Concord maybe be in the less dangerous wormholes? Things like that. And we had to go through this entire process. But we fought really hard and we won. We wanted everyone to feel like this guy here. So you have nothing else to do. So let's look around and see what we can find inside the wormhole. And it's a dangerous place, obviously. And, even at this stage, we knew that we wanted certain things to happen. We didn't really know what Tech 3 ships were going to be because we weren't talking to those guys because they were making their own goofy presentation. We didn't know what sleepers were going to look like, so we just found the most bizarre, scary thing that we could and threw it in there. And yes, obviously you're going to find old stuff and make money off of it. Oh shit. Wally shows up, starts shooting you. This is very high-tech stuff. Get rid of him. I mean, this is, we have to take shortcuts when we're testing these things. So, now you have found some really cool shit from the sleepers that you blew up. And you want to take them back home with you, so you have to get back. You find another wormhole, hopefully, if you remember to bring probes. And now you're out. Yay! In a completely different place. This was actually one of those things where it was something that was sort of obvious to us, but we actually had to explain it to other people. It's like, no, you're actually going to come out somewhere different than where you came in from. That people seem to think that it should be kind of like a loop, but it's not. And then Torfy found his German wormhole thing, and that kind of settled the argument. And you're happy at the end of it, obviously. And of course, we're in Iceland. So there's that. Now, this feature has been obviously one of our most successful ones that we've ever put out. And it's just based off of the number of people that are using them on a daily basis. We're obviously going to iterate on it and make new cool things. What exactly we're going to do and how that's going to tie in is not really, we don't have a roadmap for it just yet, but we're definitely planning on doing something cool at some point in the future. So yeah, I really want that. Now, so Apocrypha was done. Starting in about September or so of last year, Grayscale and I had already started lobbying for the fact that if we're going to change something, if we're going to iterate on something and fix something, we need to fix 0.0. We need to fix the sovereignty system. We need to make this better than what it is, or not quite so horrible. And so, people started trying to come up with the name for what it was going to be called. This was the internal name for a while. Everybody called it Rubicon. People liked that. I thought it would have been a good name. Then some people thought this might be a good name. And then this one was actually one of the suggestions, considering that we had Revelation 1 and 2. But I've always been partial to this, and I'd really like to see this happen one day. I just think that would be amazing. And even though Nathan wants it, that's just one battle he cannot seem to win. So, Dominion. I'm sorry, that's just amazing. Yeah.
I'm revoking your Photoshop privileges.
That's paint, dude. Come on. But yeah, if you haven't seen the butterfly effect, then you probably don't get this. And yeah. So, obviously, this had to get fixed. This was broken.
He's going to be broken in a second.
Sorry.
Thank you. So, fix the solve system. Pendulums. As I said, management likes to throw words at us. Previously, it was, yes, he's giggling. Outstanding. Well, the spell checker didn't catch it. Maybe they misspelled it. That's what it is. Management decided they wanted a pendulum, which was basically their code word for multiple actions affecting the direction of sovereignty. The concept behind this would have been a lot of different things, such as like you could, if you were sitting there mining or whatever, your pendulum would start to swing slowly in a certain direction. If someone else came in and started mining, it would slowly start to swing in another direction. And there were all these different professions and all these different things that would affect the pendulum. And this is a word that started to generate a lot of emo amongst the design team, because once we got to looking at it, we realized that there was no. It would have been very difficult to put this kind of a system into a sandbox type of game, because it would have required far too many restrictions and paths in order to enforce. So we had to come up with something that was a little bit more interactive. So this is where we are. The sovereignty system that's going to come into Dominion is essentially very, very simple compared to the one that exists now. It's at its very base level, you can literally switch or turn off sovereignty in a system in a 26 to 36 hour, 24 to 36 hour time span. The outposts were always the end game of taking a system. We decided that we would flip that around and decouple the outposts from the sovereignty system and make them a piece of it instead of being like the end goal. The biggest piece of all of this, obviously, is the ability to upgrade your space. And the biggest reason behind this is resource density. People or alliances hold these large swaths of space simply because they need the space in order to support the people that are in their alliance. Realistically, you can't have more than 1 or 2 people NPCing or farming a system right now. We want to see that number rise dramatically. So that way you do not have to hold, if you've got a 2,000 man alliance and you've got 150, 250 people online in chat in the evening, half the arguments you're going to see if there's not a major war going on is, someone stealing someone else's spawn. And we don't want to see that anymore. We want to fix that. The last thing is the upkeep system. The upkeep system is essentially paying the maintenance fees on the Stargates in the systems that you hold sovereignty in, basically making sure that they don't break down, that the people who run them are well fed, so on and so forth. The upkeep of a system is also going to scale along with your infrastructure. So if you develop a system to a certain point and it gets very far along in a certain path, then your upkeep is going to scale accordingly because it costs more money to keep all of this stuff running that you've introduced into the system. After Dominion, these are things that we're definitely going to be looking into because right now the goal is to give you exactly what you have now and keep it working properly. Make sure everything transitions well and doesn't break. So after we've done that, then we'll start introducing some new elements. The first part of that is the treaty system, which I'll talk about a little bit more detail in a couple of minutes. The second part is different things for like expanding the military infrastructure. Things like allowing you to put defense bunkers with guns on them near gates or star bases that might be building something valuable in them since SOD 4 is going away. Have them help defending outposts, things like that. We've even discussed allowing you to put people to put like fighter garrisons or fighter bomber garrisons that you could control. The other one of the things that came up in the roundtables, which is another thing we've been discussing, is intelligence tools, things that would allow you to monitor the traffic through the stargates that you're paying maintenance on, getting ship counts, pilots' names, ship classes, things like that. So these are all things that we can do with this new system. Essentially, the sky's the limit in terms of where you can take the development of a system. And these are things that don't have any solid plans, but are definitely things that we want to do in the future, except for maybe that last one. That's just me. We want to get agents into 0-0 stations, because into outposts, yes, into the 0-0 outposts, so that way we can get noobs out of level 4s and everything and get them out there so you can shoot at them. Planetary interaction is obviously coming up soon. We have to have that in order to establish a proper link to dust. At some point in the future, one of the things that we would like to do is possibly expand known space, add a whole lot of new regions out there that have absolutely nothing in them. No stargates, no stations, no anything. And you have to figure out how to get out there, find out what resources are out there to exploit, and then make a decision as to how you want to build those areas up, how you might want to link them back to the space you may already control. And then, of course, yeah, maybe one day we'll do stuff like this. Now, the upgrade system itself. If you're playing EVE, you're probably doing one of these three things. There's not 10 different career paths or a dozen different things that can affect pendulums or anything like that. If you're doing something in EVE, you are doing one of these three things. It all boils down to military, industrial, or economic gameplay, or metagaming. I know what you're thinking. Yes. Yes. There's going to be two basic upgrade paths. The spatial improvements, which are going to be things like, when we say getting better rocks to mine, essentially what we're talking about here is something similar to what we have in Wormhole space. Whenever you can scan down and find anomalies that have like really valuable ore, 50,000 size arcanoroids, those type of things in them. So by investing in these type of upgrades, you're going to be able to essentially get a lot more people inside of a system doing things, and they won't have to be trying to share the same static belt or whatever like that, because they'll have all these anomalies all over the place that they can go to. The structure improvements are mostly the things that currently exist in game: Sino jammers, CS, capital ship assembly arrays, jump bridges, Sino beacons, things like that. While the spatial improvements are going to require a bit more of your... After I'm done. Because, yeah. The spatial improvements are going to require you to actually be living in the system in order to maintain these upgrades. You're going to have people actually there working the land, farming it, or else they're going to start not working anymore. We're still working on the formulas on exactly how this is going to work, but it makes perfect sense, I assure you. Yeah. So, improving your space. That's the goal. That's what we want. Treaties. The next big step in all of this is getting people in your space, to live there, to work it. Now, the current system is obviously very much like this picture. It's more of a verbal handshake. There's no real enforcement. There's no actual rules or formality to it. What we want to do is we want to introduce a system that allows you, that's similar to the contract system, that allows you to actually establish where people can do what inside of your space. So if you want to have some little 10-man corp come out and say you can have this system, this system, this system, and you're blue in these 3 systems, but nowhere else, and you're going to pay us this amount of money, oh, and on top of that, we're also going to tax you this much of the ore that you mine, and so on and so forth. This is where we want to see this go. This would also extend to agreements between alliances as well, like today where you have blue on blue type fire incidents. You could actually, we want to actually get it to a point where you could set up something where if you actually were in a friendly alliance and you shot someone else's ship, that there could even be something like a central wallet that withdraws the money for that ship, and then you have to explain to your executor why you did that. Something along those lines. So, yeah. The small gang warfare thing comes up quite a bit, and essentially what we mean when we're talking about that is not only the ability to have a few more static things to shoot at, but it's primarily about the fact that there's going to be more targets in built-up space. You're going to be able to actually maybe go and find people mining for a change instead of all of this emptiness that is out there right now where nothing is going on. I have absolutely no idea what this is. If someone could, that's scary. It is, isn't it? Yeah. Errand in the morning. That was actually most of you this morning when you woke up. Super carriers. So, they're going to kill capital ships with these things, fighter bombers. Fighter bombers, we ended up balancing basically by equipping them with Citadel torpedoes because trying to use guns and things like that was proving to be a nightmare. The Citadel torps pretty much ensure that you're not going to be doing damage to things that you're not supposed to do. And if you are moving at a slow rate of speed or no speed, they're going to kill you. But if you have a little bit of transversal, you'll be fine. But they're still primarily designed to go against capital targets. This is a question that comes up a lot. And there's a lot of pro and cons on it. But one of the upgrades that we're considering allowing you to do is it would cost a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of investment, but in the player-built outposts, we may allow you to dock your super carriers. As you can see, without this upgrade, it doesn't work too well. This guy tried to dock in a station that did not have that upgrade, and with predictable results. I would too, that'd be cool. But as with any expansion, there is always something that has to take a step back, and in this case, we have the Moros. Yeah. The drone bonus is being applied only in siege mode now, so it's not going to be doing this ridiculous amount of damage. And for those of you who might not quite understand exactly how horrible this was, a level 5 Moros pilot could launch 5 Tech 2 Ogres and do 1109 DPS. That is more than a maximum skilled carrier pilot with 10 fighters. So yeah. I think I'm done with that slide. Cap ships overall. We've always paid a lot of attention to other ship classes, but cap ships over the last 2 to 3 years have been kind of neglected in this respect, and this is something that we're looking to change. We've already added the fuel bays, which some people like, some people hate. For Dominion, the XL turret tracking has been dramatically changed. What we've done is we have taken the penalty that is normally applied when a dreadnought is in siege mode and just made that the default tracking value of all of the XL turrets. The siege module will still give you the same damage bonuses and repair bonuses and all of that stuff, but it will no longer have the tracking penalty because the tracking penalty will be built into the extra large turrets. Now, obviously in Dominion, Titans are going to be slightly different, and taking that into account, we will probably be giving Titans a slight tracking bonus, so that way they can use the extra large turrets against other moving capital ships. So, the fighter bays is something I mentioned in a dev blog about a month ago. This is something that we want to try to get into Dominion. Hopefully we will. Essentially, you'll be able to have a separate drone bay for your fighters and your fighter bombers, and then we're going to have a separate drone bay just for regular drones. There was some debate on just removing drones completely from carriers and super carriers, but we've decided not to go that route, and are just going to provide a substantially reduced actual drone bay. If you don't understand why, this is because a fighter is 5,000 M3. You remove one fighter from your drone bay, and you have space for thousands of little drones. And this is a very huge performance issue. And that's one of the primary reasons that we're doing it. It's not necessarily because it's a balancing thing, which it kind of is, but it was motivated more by performance than anything else. The revamp on capital weapons. This is something that we're hoping to get into early next year, where we actually start to differentiate the long-range capital weapons and the short-range capital weapons, actually giving you the opportunity to have a choice between fits. As an example, right now, the XL blasters with antimatter have an optimal range of 25 kilometers. This does not even allow you to hit a large tower inside of its force field. So we're going to probably look at extending the range of the short-range turrets to something around 50 or 60, and boost the other ones to somewhere around the 150 to 180 range. These are all just random numbers, but that's probably where it's going to end up. Additionally to that, we're going to give the Phoenix a Citadel cruise launcher, which will finally give it a bit more of a faster long-range weapon and allow it to maybe get on at least 50% more kill mills than it does now. Capital modules, things like capital plates, capital shield extenders, maybe. Faction capital modules. This would probably happen before this would. So you might see like a Garistus capital shield booster or something in the future. And obviously whatever else we can think of. This is never going to happen, by the way. Turrets on carriers. We actually did this. It terrified Art quite a bit, but it was rather cool. But that's never going to happen. But I just thought I'd show it to you anyway. Titan balancing. A lot of times it comes up about not only Titan sovereignty, but any large feature in the game. Why did you guys take so long to do this? Didn't you realize that this was a problem before? Yes, we did. And one of the reasons that this stuff takes so long is because these are the kind of things that happen whenever we start discussing it. We get into meetings, and it just goes on and on. And these are not things I just made up. These are literally actual quotes from some of the meetings that I've sat in over the last year or two. And it generally all just ends with this last one. Fuck it, let's just go out and eat. Because it's just been painful. And then finally we just decided to just go through and not necessarily try to balance a ship that technically doesn't actually have a role in the game. Where every other ship in the game basically has a specific thing it is supposed to be doing, Titans are just kind of these big giant e-penises that have apps. They're not cost effective. They're never designed to be cost effective, as a famous YouTube clip from Nathan shows. And so what we wanted to do at the very least was remove the area of effect Doomsday and make them at least partially useful. So, what should the new one be? What should it look like? What should it do? As you can see by the previous Titan balancing thing, there were a lot of ideas about this too. But I've always been partial to this. They are Titans, so they should be doing something similar to this. And of course, once we decided what it was going to be, you know, the final effect is very similar. And then I asked my CCP prawn to put this together. And this is the one everyone saw. And yeah, it was pretty cool. So these are the current new super weapon descriptions. They're all going to be slightly different. None of them are going to be, the same. These two are going to be fairly interesting. This is probably going to be like some very scary black ray of ugliness. This is supposed to be a whole bunch of small little missiles running around, blowing crap up. And the Minotaur one is probably going to be several large missiles that are just kind of like hoping they figure out where they're supposed to go before they land on something. But for now, there's no sound to this. And this just got finalized yesterday, and I get to one-up Torfy for once. But this is the Amarian one, which did not play for some reason. I had to click up here. And yes, it is a Minotaur carrier. Booyah. You want me to play it one more time? Okay. And like I said, the other ones are they're all going to have their own animations, and this is the first in the line of what we're planning on doing with this. Titans will eventually be able to do other things. Yes, feel free to. It's sad, though. Did you see that? It's like a little frowny face. So, yeah. No, that's enough. Stop. There. So. Elephants. Where is he? Damn it. So, yeah. In the end, Eve's all about fun, obviously, of various types. This was not... When you type fun into Google without the safe search on, you get some really interesting pictures. I had to actually try to find this one. It was girls doing a lot of other things. Yeah. And we love drama. Eve is always about drama because that builds subscriber numbers. I think this dude's actually dead now. I think I read he died. Is he? Oh. That's right, he did. So, and I just think this is fucking awesome. Just, I don't know. He's not even have the same boot on. That's just. So, and it's all coming soon. And I actually meant, and there's the little dust logo and all that stuff in there as well. And assuming everything works out, you'll be playing Eve forever. And that's it. So, we've got about 10 or 15 minutes before we probably need to start moving over towards Tranquility for the big shooty thing. So, if there's anybody that wants to ask any questions, feel free. Right ahead.
Yeah, about the treaties. About the treaties.
Treaties.
Yeah. Aren't you guys afraid of like the big alliances, Goose, AAA, NEC? It's basically gonna say
No, that's actually exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want. I mean, these type of agreements already exist as it is. Hmm? Oh, he was asking whether actually. Let's try this instead. There. He was saying whether or not we're afraid that a lot of people are going to have a lot more pets and things in their space. But that's actually what people are already doing now, and this would just formalize that.
Basically, we want the big alliance to contract into small space and like all the small part. So you want like the big alliances, AAA goons holding a lot of AFK space, like you called it, to contract to like maybe a few system constellation or something where they totally control, and have like 200 smaller corporations or alliances just that they control, kind of.
If that's what they want to do, then yes.
Okay.
They have the capability to control that swath of space, then yes.
I had a question about that improvement of systems. Just one clarification. Is it mutually exclusive? You know, you either pick better rats and belts or you have Sun and Jammer.
No.
So you can have both.
Yes.
Okay.
You said you decoupled the sovereignty from the outposts. Will we be able to build outposts in wormholes?
Will you be outposts will not be invulnerable.
Okay.
No, they're outposts and wormholes? No. Not yet. Maybe one day. I was good. He didn't have to shoot me. Shit!
Was one of your goals when redesigning the sovereignty system to permit some smaller corps access to the 0-0 space?
Yes, that was actually that was one of the things that we really wanted to try to do, because if the larger alliances are controlling a smaller area of space, or they have the ability to rent out the space more formally, then it's much more likely that smaller entities will at least have a chance to get out there and actually do something.
Into a slightly two-part question, because I don't know if my first bit's right, but you know, because space is going to be upgradable, does that mean that it's sort of going to be reset, so it's all the same, if you know what I mean?
No.
Because then you upgrade. No. Okay.
No, the current space is going to remain the same, and we're not looking at like changing like the true sec values, if that's what you're referring to.
So it's more about, obviously, certain systems have different, you know, tactical advantage, maybe like a bit out the loop, but you know, like moons that are worth more money and stuff like that, and people would maybe fight over them. But now, you know, you can upgrade.
Well,
Is it going to make it more the same everywhere, if you know?
That is entirely dependent upon the choices that players make. Some people they're going to have opportunities to choose like several different things that they can do, and a lot of these upgrades take a lot of time and a lot of money, and to invest in and get up and running. So the likelihood of everybody being exactly the same is, I mean, all the different variables of like someone coming in and wrecking everything that you've done, or just the sheer amount of will needed to do it. Is it possible that that may happen? Of course it is. Is it likely? Not anytime soon.
Okay.
Now that people are going to start to pay for the maintenance fees on Stargates, I've seen it asked a couple of times in the forums if they're going to be able to almost shut down Stargates. It would, you know, provide tactical kind of... No.
No.
All right, cheers.
Well, there was a brief, there was discussion at one of the military upgrades, and this is not something that would relate to paying upkeep, but one of the military upgrades might be allowing you to actually lock down a Stargate that you own for a certain amount of time. And it's actually not very technically difficult in order to accomplish this, but we basically cut the idea out because we just didn't have time to flesh it out properly. If that ever does show up or come in, it will be because we've thought of and have a proper countering mechanic to it.
I just heard you mention something about not adjusting the true sec values.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any thought of allowing that to happen to be influenced by players, maybe? Not.
It's a technical issue. It's a technical issue that would require far too much in order to get done. That's really the bottom line of it.
Okay, but even if it were something where over a long term, something could start to affect that.
Anything is possible through software. That's what I get told by the programmers all the time. But it's not very likely to happen.
Just this, I'm not sure if that's what he was asking earlier, but or if that's an add-on. But about the moons, right now there are a limited number of moons that give some bottleneck materials for T2 production. Will any space be able to invest to get those materials, or are there still going to be specific moons that can only give?
No, this system has absolutely nothing to do with moon or moon mineral distribution.
Okay.
This doesn't change any of that.
And you can't get those minerals another way.
Not at present, no. But that being said, there has been I'm not sure if it was covered in one of the roundtables, but there are ways at looking at coming up with other sources than just the moons. But it's not going to have anything to do with the infrastructure system right now.
With the upgradable infrastructure, if say your corporation owns the system that's upgraded quite substantially, another corporation or alliance comes in and takes your space, is the infrastructure still there, or is it like gone into disrepair?
We're actually actively debating whether or not we want to allow people to capture the infrastructure or be forced to blow it up and start from scratch. That's actually something that we're currently trying to figure out.
You were talking about introducing fighter base to the carriers to stop people from carrying 1,000,001 Warrior 2s. Is there still going to be sufficient space in a drone bay to carry logistics drones and heavy drones and light drones? You're not going to nerf it right down to
Yeah, absolutely.
250?
We're not going to nerf it down to even battleship proportions. Just something that you'll still be able to carry a variety of drones. You're just not going to be able to carry like 200 of each anymore. That it will be reasonable.
I have a question about pauses compared to this.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of alliances now have a lot of pauses just holding sovereignty. That's what they're basically doing. Are those poor bastards just controlling the towers, getting any help, taking them down, and this hits the server?
Nope.
So basically, they're fucked.
Because you can hold sovereignty with one tower.
Yeah, I know.
If someone's holding sovereignty with 40 towers, then I guess they're just going to have to take them all down.